Okay, this demo will be on the Penguin cards and how to get started on that. You will download the Penguin cards folder from Blackboard and rename it with your last name. If you can see here, you can see the file management is already set up for you. There are two fonts to load. It's very important that you load these fonts. We have some Photoshop images of players. We have one vector file for Penguin logo. And under working, we have our handout and a card sample. Take a look at the handout. This is similar to the Steeler cards that we've done, only it's more sophisticated, much more complex. All the specs are right here for you. Okay, you can see X and Y coordinates, width and height on our text boxes and picture boxes. The big difference in this, I can point out right here, is where on the Steeler cards we use 4 text boxes to do the players' names and numbers. With this one, you have 1 text box, and we're going to be using tabs and baseline shift to create this. Okay, so as I said, this is a 3-page handout. Refer to this. This will give you the sizes for the players as far as scaling them. Okay, and the last page is very important. This is for doing the players' names and numbers, and as I said, we're using tabs and baseline shift for this. So it's very important when you do the first one for Sidney Crosby that you follow this exactly. You can see we have Sidney with a hard return, Crosby, then a tab 87, hard return, tab 87. So you set it up in any font, and then you apply the correct fonts to it and apply the tab stops. We go back to the first page of the handout. I'm referring to all this down here. Okay, now once you get the first one done, you should be able to just unlock the text boxes on the other pages and retype the players' names so you don't have to format it every single time. So that's the handout. So the first thing we would do is make a document. It's 2.75 by 3.5, 4 pages, no facing pages, no master text frame, 1 column, 0 margin. So you would want to go ahead and create that document first. So this is where we start. Remember, we're building this on the master page. So you can make a 4-pager, and then every time you add something here, it will automatically add it to those pages. So we're going to take a look at these specs. The first one is our first picture box. You can see our X and Y is 0, 0. And our size is the size of the card, 2.75 by 3.5. And we're also lining up to the inside of the stroke. Should remember that from the G-pad. So if I bring up my stroke palette, and you can see we're lining to the inside. Okay. The second rectangle frame or picture box has a 5-point stroke. Okay. And it has a color that you'll create, our penguin gold, which will be 100% yellow and 18% black. To apply that. Okay, and that's just on the outside stroke, like you see here. So you're going to set that up first. Remember, on the master page. The next step would be on the master page to set up these text boxes. This is your first text box. And we can see the specs there. You can see our X and Y, where it's putting it, and our width and height. Okay, and notice we're just typing Ittsburg, not Pittsburgh, because if you put the P in there, it'll run off page, it won't all fit. So on that one, we're doing Ittsburg. The next text box is this one here, where we're typing out penguins. Put a soft return after each letter. I'll bring up my invisibles, Option Command I. You can see the soft returns there. Okay. Also, there's an inset on here. So if we hit Command B, text frame options, it shows us what our inset spacing is there. Okay, which is right here. Back to our handout. And these are giving us all the specs that I just mentioned there. It's also center alignment. That's going to center that in there. Center the words inside there. Okay, so that's the second step. Okay, next is to apply the logo, and it is 23%. And also, once you have it in there, we go back to our handout. Right in here, scale it at 23, and it's fit frame to content. Okay, and you can see the X and Y coordinates. And that should work for you there. The next step is to put a text box on your master page and type Sidney Crosby. This is what I was referring to on the handout. It's very important that you follow this last page. Okay, if you don't do this first, it's not going to work for you. This is difficult enough as it is, even if you follow this, as you'll see. So there we have Sidney with a hard return, Crosby, tab 87, hard return, tab 87. So you get that in there first. And then you want to start to format it. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. We have Sidney set up in Avenir Roman, okay, 15 over 19 and a half. And you're going to type it in caps and lowercase and then apply the small caps to it. Okay, to set that up. After that, you're going to apply format Crosby. If we look here, this is Avenir Heavy, 28 over 19 and a half for the leading. And it's also apply these small caps to that. The next step, okay, would be to set 87, and that's going to be an ITC machine medium, and that's a font you're going to load, okay, and it's 36 over 19 and a half. You can see how this is being built. Okay, the next one is we're going to start applying the specs and the tabs on here. So if we take a look at our handout again, and this is what you want to refer to. Okay, and you can see first name, it gives you the size and font, horizontal scale, tracking, small caps. Last name, we have the size, the font, horizontal scale is normal on that, small caps, and going to fill him with 75% tint of black, which gives it a gray. And first line indent is 0.155. That's what's kicking Crosby over here. So it's not lined up with Sid anymore. Okay, then we have the yellow numbers, and this is the machine medium, horizontal scale normal. We're filling it with our penguin gold. And now you can see our left justified, and that's this tab here. And then the black numbers, it's 36 over 19 and a half, filled with black, and our tab specs are here, 1.3472. So you can see the first one on the yellow numbers is 1.375, black is 1.3472. It's just a little bit further in. Baseline shift is a question mark, because you're going to go ahead and just adjust the baseline shift till it starts to work for you. Okay, so if we look in here, and I'll bring up my tab ruler, Shift Command T, and go ahead and get my type tool. I'll need to unlock this. Let's just go back to the master page. And we can click on our left tab, and you can see we have a left tab of 1.375. Okay, so that's kicking that over for us. Then we look at our other tab, okay, is 1.372. Okay, so that's kicking the other number over a little bit less. That's the black. So the first tab is the gold, second tab is the black. Now the difficult part is adjusting the baseline shift. So you see there's a 4 baseline shift here. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Okay, and then you can see here. So this baseline shift is 22. It's getting the gold 87 to line up where we need it. And then the other one is the 4. Okay, so that works. Get that working first. And this is the most important thing. Then if we go to the other pages, Sydney's done, we go to the next one. Okay, we can just unlock these text boxes. Remember, Shift Command click to unlock it. Then you can go in and retype the names. Okay. So we'll take a look here. There's Sydney, and applying the putting the images in is pretty simple. It gives you the percentages form. Okay. Now, this can be very frustrating getting this to work, especially Matt Murray for some reason. Bring up my Invisibles, Option Command I. Sometimes when you start to change these numbers, they don't quite fit. And another thing you need to do is, you need to move the one out of the way so you can get to the one behind it. You can move it above or below. Okay, and then you can get to this guy. Okay. I'll just Command Z these back. Now, having said that, this can be frustrating. Some of them are easy to change. As I said, for some reason, Matt Murray even given me issues, and I've done these many times. Okay, because since having said all that, I'm giving you a student sample. It will be in Blackboard that you can open up and look at. Okay, and the main thing here is getting Sidney Crosby 87 to work. If you get that one to work, but the other ones you're having issues with, you will not lose any points over it. Do the best you can on it. As I said, I'm giving you a student sample that you can refer to. It's actually this sample right here that I just put together. But the main thing is that you get Sidney Crosby done and get that one to work. And then you can refer to the student samples. If these other ones are a little off, as I said, you will not lose points. The main thing is you're understanding how we're using tabs and baseline shift to get all this into one text box, as opposed to 4 text boxes for the Steeler cards. Okay, so it is definitely more difficult. So that is how you're going to go about building the Penguin cards. And remember, build all this first on the master page. Make sure your invisibles are up, Option Command I.